Have I come to this planet to pay bills?
Leaders are not born, they are made.
So I want to meet you for half an hour. How much will you charge? Everyone will be buying and selling time.
विश्व में केवल 10% ऐसे लोग हैं जो गोल सेट करते हैं.
The manager converted into a leader and you said, we all know, let's do it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Back on the Wednesday, 5 p.m. BSB live show. And I'm so happy and privileged to have with us. Firstly, before I talk anything about her introduction, I want to say a very good friend. It's just been a little more, it's almost been about 2 months now that we met in Delhi. And of course, before that, we met online. And by now, I think we have understood each other very well that I can easily claim to be a good friend. Is that right, Monica?
Oh, kia ora and good evening from Aotearoa, New Zealand. And absolutely, we have become great friends, I would like to say. We speak freely and we have a lot in common, which is wonderful.
Thank you so much. So we welcome Monica Moore, who is from New Zealand. She has a unique style of proactive communication and which she has developed from a background in business, education, and theatre. Known as the communication evolutionist, Monica is an associate of the Trinity College London for communication, and then she has a distinction there. She's an award-winning speaker, and that you'll see very soon. I have not watched her, not seen her, but experienced her magic on the stage. And I can tell you, she is beyond what you normally think of a communication speaker. So that's why I'm so excited. And I made a very special post yesterday to tell people it's not going to be the normal run-of-the-mill communication discussion. Is going to be beyond that, purely focused at leaders. Monica is the immediate past president of the Professional Speakers Association of New Zealand. And of course, when she wrote this, there was a little humor there saying she's writing this on the plane to Perth because she's just done a speech there just last weekend. And she's back to New Zealand where she is now with us. So very warm welcome, Monica.
Thank you so much. I'm very much looking forward to being here. It's not just anyone that I'll get up in the middle of the night and have a chat with, but it's my great privilege to be here with you.
Yes. So it's a very special day for us to have a speaker like Monica invest her 60 minutes with us at little past midnight or half an hour past midnight at her place. And it's a very special day as well.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
Monica, from all of us in India and all those who are here with us now. And very happy birthday. She's, it's just been past midnight. So I'm sure we are probably the first ones to wish her before her friends can wake up in the morning and wish her. So wishing you a very happy, long, healthy life, and a very special wish to her daughter who's recovering. So, very, very special wish to her as well, to her good health.
Thank you. Thank you. That was very lovely. You've made my day memorable already. I don't think I've ever been on a LinkedIn Live on my birthday before. I've been on quite a few, but not on my birthday. So, and of course, who better to share it with than the Brigadier? Thank you so much.
So, you're most welcome, and let's start. So, today, and before I go further, I just want to tell all our viewers that firstly, when you're there, keep writing something in the comments so that we know you are there. That's very, very important. Another thing I want to tell you is that uh, we want to make it a little interactive. So if you keep putting in your questions, and we will, whenever we have a little gap, answer your questions or answer. And if you have anything to add or your suggestions, it'll be very nice to have that happening. So do participate, right?
Yes, we'd love
So,
love to see your questions. Just pop them into the chat. I can see them. I haven't connected to YouTube, I don't think so. I'm not sure if I can write in here, but I'll answer them. Thank you, David, for the happy birthday. And oh, good evening, Ram Prasad. Nice to see you. He's a friend from the conference in India.
yes. So we have Ram Prasad and we have David. Dave is a very, very close friend of mine. He's also a time management expert. So we share that expertise and we share so much with each other. He's just written a new book called Time Optimization. And look at his greatness that he has quoted my book in his book. So it's very, very sweet of him. So thank you, Dave, for being here. Right. So today we are going to be talking, as usually we do, that I try to integrate the expertise of our guest into leadership so that we can have more ideas on what is that aspect of leadership. And obviously, today we are going to talk about the standout communication for leaders. Now, just 1 second. Yeah, okay. So here the topic goes at the bottom. We are talking about standout communications for leaders. What I want to tell you right up front, and we in the facilitation parlance call it front loading, which means that you tell somebody before what's going to happen so that they are more mentally prepared of what's coming. We are not talking about communication skills like we normally do. We have got a package for you today, courtesy Monica's expertise, which is totally tailor made for a leader. And it is going a little deeper into just about the communication that people think is about speaking, about listening, about body language. There is something beyond that. So please be prepared. And for all those who are serious listeners about this, may like to have a notebook and pen because you will find certain things worth noting. And as I always say, don't write down what we say. Write down what you filter and think is applicable to you in your life, because that is what matters. So without uh, any further ado, let's continue. So let me start, Monica, by asking you a very, very simple thing to start with, that how can leaders create a solid framework for communication? So the very first thing is that when I take up a leadership role, what is the first thing that should strike me that I should do so that everything else I do about communication falls into that framework, that concept, so that it is absolutely aligned, focused, and without wasting any effort anywhere, so that my leadership gets communicated to my team in the best way.
Well, that's an easy question. The very first thing that any leader should do is to go and take a good look at the vision, the mission, the purpose, and the values of that company or organization that they are in charge of. Or if they're writing them, make sure that they have written them, that they're clear, that they've worked on them, and they fully understand them. Then take those words of that vision or the mission, the purpose, and the values, and make sure that they are infused within the company. I like to say this: if I walked into your organization tomorrow, what would I see, feel, know, and experience that matches or aligns with the vision, mission, purpose, and values? And so often many leaders and organizations miss that part out. In fact, I've worked with a lot of companies and organizations, and I've asked the employees, what's your vision? What's the vision of this company or organization? And they don't know. So there's something that's very, very obvious and very practical to start infusing. So, for example, the mission of a company might be to ensure that every customer is responded to within 24 hours of their first question. So then everybody is on board and knows what that's about. Same with the values. A company might value collaboration. So leaders would be using those words. As you know, collaboration is an important value. So let's work this out together. So that would be my very, very first port of call. The first place I would go as a new leader would be to the vision, mission, purpose, and values of the organization and company, and start using them in my daily words to everyone.
Thank you so much. So when we come to military leadership, Monica, I must share with you, nothing starts without mission. So we use a word very often. It happens in our conversation daily, couple of times, and that is the aim. The aim of this exercise, the aim of my talk, the aim of this. We always start, and we have 4 parameters. We say the aim must start with 2. So it has to be to do whatever you're doing. So that is one. Secondly, it has to be very short, 1-liner, 2-liners, not a paragraph can't be an aim. The third thing, it has to be single. You can't have this and this. You must have an aim which is clear. And to us in the army, like you go for an exercise, the aim of this exercise is, so right from the beginning, people know that this is what we are going to achieve. So when I did my first ever corporate training program after coming out of the army, a company, and I don't want to name it because it is India's one of the leading companies, were headed by a person who's highly, highly respected. And I had gone to their website to do my little due diligence to see what some information about that company. So I found that they had 5 pillars, which they called. Their values were their 5 pillars. So I had each value written on a A4 size paper and reversed it. So people saw blank papers hung on the wall. And I asked them, can I know what are your 5 pillars? And can you believe it? Not even one person knew them. So I said, okay, you may not remember them, but just tell me what are the values of your company. Tell me vaguely. Tell me approximately, like what are your values? And people made some attempts. They went all over the place, but they were not being able to come to the values. And I said, if your MD gets to know that the leaders in the middle management have no idea about the values he goes by or the organization goes by, how bad would he feel? So the values, it's not, a lot of companies have good values on their websites, on their walls, but unless the values are lived by everyone from top to bottom, the first person I think in a company who communicates the value of that company is the watchman. The moment you enter that company, how does he treat you? How does he make the entry to that company smooth? It starts from there. So I think very well said. So this is the foundation. This is the main thing. If you as a leader not clear about your vision, mission, purpose, values, nothing else works. Let's proceed further and say that, okay, once you have that clear, now, in your opinion, Monica, what are the ways leaders can promote a shared sense of purpose and identity among their team members? How do they foster this sense of culture, of unity, collaboration, etc.? Because this is something easily said than done.
Oh, absolutely. It can be difficult if you make it difficult. So just going back to what you said about in the army, and I think that's great because the army needs a mission. They need to be aiming for something, and we want the army to have a mission. But we also want our companies to have that, and that's something clear and specific that they are going to do on a daily basis, which is quite different to the vision. The vision is how you want the company to be, and it could be in the future, but the mission is right now. And the best way to start using to be able to infuse this is to use these words. So if you're a new leader, you might choose one value to be the focus for the year or the month. And at meetings, at team meetings, or at the whole company meetings or organizational meetings, those words should be a focus. What are you doing within your team to show that we are a company that values collaboration? What is going on amongst your group and then the wider groups that show that? So just by putting that word in first to the leader's language, using it as often as possible, it will quickly be taken up by the employees and everybody else within that company. Use it in your marketing. So people, when they go there, if it's a company that is marketing or an organization that does that, so people are fully aware of what to expect when they come in there. So they know straight away what's happening. It should be very simple, very clear. Your values, they should be easy to understand, and then everybody should be using them. Use it as part of your when you're checking on how the company's going along. Where can we see the visibility of this particular value? What's happening with our purpose? What's going on? How are you speaking to each other in your teams using that? Because, and this is really important, words are the most powerful force known to humanity. And as you know, they start wars, they can end relationships, they can begin relationships, they can solve problems, they can create problems. And we don't think about that often enough. So I'm just going to say this again, and if people want to write it down, I'd strongly recommend it. Words are the most powerful force or powerful tools available to humanity. And we don't often put a lot of thought into how we're using them.
Thank you so much, Monica. That was nice. So I also agree with you that every one has to live those values, and probably at all levels, a little bit of check that are we doing it, and if people are not deviating from the values, they need to be corrected. So one of the best ways I have seen in some companies is where you take the ownership of telling your colleagues, hey, listen, you are violating this, or just a little reminder. Are you being, like, for example, time is a company has a value of on time delivery. So the moment somebody has done something late, all he's told is, are you delivering on time? And that little reminder, so that if the culture becomes that, yes, you're checking on the fact that, yes, we are consciously living those values.
Yes, it's always a good idea too to use questions and just to ask. So look, we need to have a 24-hour delivery here. I'm just noticing over the last week this isn't happening. Can you tell me more about this? And give that person the opportunity to then explain themselves. And if you find they're making a lot of excuses, ask them, are these excuses or are these reasons? And by being really clear in your questions and in your communication, that I still leaves the honor with the person that may have been late, and they could say, well, actually, I do realize now I'm not following this process, and I'll do that in the future. Or let's meet in 2 weeks' time and have a discussion and to see if things have improved and what's happened. So just by asking those really, really specific questions, can you tell me more about this? Because you're giving ownership to the people that you're leading, and you're not saying you're not doing this, because that's quite punitive and quite negative. Tell me about this. Let's write it down. Let's make a plan.
And without accusing, without admonition, you are just trying to remind them. So as long as you're respectfully reminding them, I think it works very well. So I have like what you said, I love that expression when you say, can you tell me more about it?
Yes.
Or
And
something like, can you tell, sorry.
That's empowerment. I love the word empowerment.
Yeah.
And it's really important to empower people. You don't want people to be fearful. You want people to take ownership. I'm anticipating that we're working with adults here, but even if it's younger people, tell me more about this. And that gives them the opportunity to reflect and to put some thought in it. Or you could go straight to, let's talk about this in 2 weeks' time. Let's see if we can have this mission happening. Or you could ask them, how could I help you to achieve the company's mission?
Yes.
By using those, you're empowering the workers or the people that you're working for, if you're a leader, to the people you're working with, to solve their own problems, which, of course, if you're a leader, that makes your life an awful lot easier because you don't have to run around and check everybody.
Yes. And when somebody does come out with some excuses, I normally use this expression, and it is with a little tinge of humor when you say, of course, you got very justified reasons for not doing it on time. But can you just reflect on, are your excuses becoming bigger than your goals? And let's leave it there. So,
Yes.
and that's a good reminder I used to do with my people to say, and I won't even say you are doing it. I'll say, can we all reflect on whether our excuses are becoming bigger than our goals? And people understand, and they'll smile and say, yes, we'll do better.
Yes.
Right.
Excellent.
I always feel that a leader must take every step to make a person and not a break a person. So that is what I've been I learned it very early from some of my seniors. Any punishment, any rectification of a process should be aimed at how can I improve and make this person, not break this person. Not that you demoralize him for the rest of his life, that he doesn't do anything more.
Yes, empowering people and giving them the skills and the tools. And again, going back to those really clear and specific vision, mission, purpose, and values is going to give everybody a framework to work within. That way people feel secure, they know where they're going, they know what's needed, and they know what language that they could use. I was speaking with a group recently, and they said, how do we solve these problems when people do these things? And I just come straight back with, go to your values. For example, as you know, we value collaboration. So let's work this out together. And that's great if you've got a customer complaint. We value collaboration. And sometimes customers, even though they are always right, can be quite unreasonable. So by going back to those values, it's all there for you, just to pick up and use. And I wonder why people are not using those, because most companies have beautiful vision, mission, purpose, and values, but they're not using them in their everyday life. And their life would be a lot easier. There would be a lot less conflict. People would be more sure of what's going on just by using those words.
So I would just say to Dave, Lali, Ramprasad, I can only see 4 names, but I see more people. So there are some who are not making their mention. So do that so that we know that you are there. And I have just taken this very insightful word from Monica, empowerment. You know, as long as the leader remembers that you are there to empower people to get things done, to do it positively, encourage them to do it, and not, you know, those days are absolutely gone. When I joined the army, a leader would say something and it would be done. People never asked a question. But today's uh, society has changed. Humans have changed. They, even a child wants encouragement, respect. So if we do like that, we get better results.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. And leaders, I always say, need to work with people, not at people. Work
Yes.
with them, not at them. And of course, it's so important. If you're telling everybody to use these words, you must be an excellent role model yourself at using them. That's hugely important.
Yes. So many years ago, I learned one thing. You never say he served under me. You'll never hear me talking about a colleague who says, you know, where I say he served under me. No, I said he served with me. He served with me. We were together. We were together in a company, in a battalion. We say that. So it sounds much uh, more collaborative. There's a sense of belonging, and you're giving respect to that person because you may have been a little senior. Only that coming to this world in that race, we won. We came earlier than them. That's all. Otherwise, they have to be given respect. So
Yes, they
thank
do.
you. And Monica, let's proceed further. I'm very curious to know from you, how do you create this culture of openness to new ideas? Because if a leader always wants to just download information or give orders, instructions, we have a very limited thought process. But we use the word collaboration. So if we also collaborate in getting ideas from people, how do you make that environment where people are more open to ask questions and to contribute and to give suggestions?
Oh, and in today's world, innovation is something that we all need to be. The world is become very uncertain. It's constantly changing and evolving, and that actually is certain. The world is going to constantly change and evolve, and we and all our organizations need to be innovative. And I absolutely love the concept of what I like to call an ideation highway, just an ideation highway, where anybody in an organization can put forward a great idea or a not great idea. It doesn't matter, where everybody's encouraged to put forward ideas. Now, the leader doesn't have to sit there and look at all these ideas on a daily basis. Perhaps his team or different groups are encouraged to do that. But you need some form of portal where these ideation highways, I love to, it's like everyone's driving together on a road with different ideas, will all come and be available and encouraged to do it. Because it used to be Peter from sales and Sally from marketing, and they didn't work collaboratively. If someone's got a great idea for an ideation highway where they're going to come up with some way of transporting a good idea. I think one of the companies that is world class at this is 3M. Now, they're the company that make the Post-it notes, which we're all very familiar with, but they make hundreds of other products as well. And how the Post-it notes came into being was through not such a great idea. It was supposed to be something sticky that was supposed to be a solid glue. And long story short, that somebody made it, and it didn't particularly work for that. But because it was still in the pool of the ideas, they discovered through, it was actually one of the, I think it was one of the designers was a musician, and they couldn't get their music to stick one day on their music stand. So they used this glue, and then they realized it came off and on. So there's no
So
bad idea.
did you say ideation highway or was it high rise?
It was a highway, like a road. So you need somewhere like to transport all these great ideas. And if your company doesn't have, or organization, some form of ideation highway, then they might look at it, or some portal for sharing great ideas. And another company, it was the the cleaning department that come up with an idea of a 4-day week for other departments. And on the day that department was not there, the cleaners got in and really gave everything a great clean. And then they ended up having to work less time because they weren't working around other people. So you could be missing out on some fantastic ideas by not having a policy, a portal, a way of sharing great ideas for innovation. Why don't we do it like this? Particularly if something isn't working well, or if you're finding that whatever it is you're offering, you've got a lot of competition, you need to come up with these innovative, great ideas and give everybody the opportunity to do it.
But Monica, in every organization, there are people who have ideas, but they always have a little fear of whether the idea will be accepted or not. They are not prepared to give it out. And I think as leaders, we need to do something to create an environment where people fearlessly give ideas without any scare that people may not like it, or it'll be branded as a stupid idea and all that. How do you do that?
Just with a simple statement, no idea is a bad idea. And if the leader chooses to take one of these ideas or something that's innovative or different and try it, then it's up to the leader if it didn't work or not. It's not the person that had the idea to start with.
Exactly.
Unless if you're the leader that's doing it. And if we don't try new things, we're going to end up with the same things. And if we do everything the same way, we're not going to move forward, and we will be lost. We will be lost in the crowd, and we will miss out, particularly with everything that's changing in the world and how fast it changes.
Absolutely. And if we create a little open-minded culture in the organization, and like you said very rightly, if a leader, whenever a new idea comes, even if a leader may not be very happy with that idea, may not find it a great idea, but the immediate response of the leader could be excellent idea or bright idea, and we'll soon work on it. And maybe sometimes you can call that person and say, we want to work on this idea, but this is not the right time. We are waiting for the right time, right opportunity to work on it, so that the person does feel that his idea was considered, if nothing else. Even if it is not implemented, it is at least considered. So I've been calling this building a little, building what is it called? A support net.
Yes.
That you create a support net where people feel that they will not fall down. You can make mistakes, you can give ideas, try them out, experiment, so that innovation can be at the highest.
Oh, totally. And one idea might spark off another idea. So that's you're starting with something.
That's another one. That's another good one. That one idea may not be good enough, but it may spark off another idea. And that's a very, very bright one. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just creating that opportunity for innovation because it's needed. And I'm not talking about just having an innovation department, but opening up to the full company where everybody and not all ideas might not all of them may be looked at initially, and some of them might be parked till later, but they're there and they're available, and people are shown, they're given opportunity to do so if they want to.
Yeah, we could also create an idea bank and keep recording all those ideas and having them readily available to be used whenever the right time comes.
Yes, exactly.
Very good. So would you like to go a little deeper into how to create this, how to get an environment where people openly come out with ideas,
where people
remove that fear?
So all companies, if you're working and operating a fear-based organization, then you really do need to have a really good look at your leadership style. And again, it's the words that you're using daily. We encourage your great ideas. No idea is a bad idea. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But thank you, keep going, keep trying. And I think that's something that should be brought up regularly. And again, it's just in everybody's communication style. It also stops people complaining, because if you don't like the way something's being done, you have an opportunity to be able to share what would work better. And that's a good place to air that if you're working in a team, going around and just discussing what's going on. And I think we were talking the other day about just a really simple tool that I use. If you try something and it doesn't work within your team, you can use what I like to call name it, claim it, frame it. And again, like any leadership, everything should start with you owning what you're doing and respecting what other people are doing. And that can reduce a lot of conflict and also quickly solve a lot of problems. So for example, if you're working in your team and something went terribly wrong, so you have a meeting and the idea is to just talk about your experience. So I might name it usually is something that you're feeling. So I might feel really disappointed. I put my heart and soul into the project and it didn't work. So I'm going to name it and say, I'm disappointed. Then I have to claim it, claim what I did. So I might say, I spent 40 hours on this project. I put everything into it and I thought it was going to work and I thought everybody was as excited as me, but it was me alone. Then after that, you need to frame what you would do in the future. So you might say, in the future, I'll create a checklist. So we're checking every few days to make sure everybody is doing their part. I'm going to do that. So that's very different from a lot of team conversation. It's like, I did all this work and you said you were going to do this and you didn't do it. And it just disempowers everybody. But by flipping it, I love that word flip, just talk about your experience. Name what you did, name how you feel, claim what you did, and frame what you would do in the future. So you're looking ahead about what would work rather than focusing on what went wrong, but you're learning on that way. So someone might feel disappointed. Somebody else might say, I feel confused because I thought I was doing what I was asked, and I'm going to claim it and say, I assumed that Monica wanted me to do this, but now I'm hearing it was something different. And in the future, I'm going to check with her. I'm going to frame it so that in the future, I will check that I have the right understanding of what I'm doing. So it's a very simple tool, but it's very effective. Name it, claim it, frame it. And if anybody is interested, they can email me or write in the comments. Email me at monica@monicamore.net, and I'm happy to send them a complimentary copy of that tool for Name It, Claim It, Frame It.
That is very powerful, and thank you for offering that tool. Ladies and gentlemen, take this offer. We'll put details of the email ID so that you don't miss it out in the comments later. In fact, Snehal, if you are there, you can do it right now. And I would like to know if there are any more people who have anything to add, or any of those who are not showing up in their names, so that we can know that you're there and acknowledge your presence. Because when you invest your time and be here, it is a great matter of pleasure for us to have you with us. So let's go to the next part, and that is, Monica, we just talking about how to create this environment where it's conducive to everyone, collaborating, innovating, and all that. But also along with that, today the world has become so dynamic. The speed of change is difficult to cope with. How does one keep updated in knowledge? How do you keep an environment of continuous learning like being a lifelong learner. How does a leader make sure that everyone is updated and doing not only what they've been doing earlier, but peep into the future and be prepared for it?
Well, I think that it would be really important. It's really important in today's world that I would expect most companies or organizations have lifelong learning as one of their values. And then to see that happening within your teams, you would have people coming together and saying, what are we doing for our professional development? What are we going to do next? What's our next step? And that's a great phrase. What's our next step? So that's just, again, keep it really simple. Use that language and infuse it. And again, if you're a leader, of course, if you're really interested in lifelong learning, you need to be a great role model.
Absolutely. I think there's no shortcut to that, because at least the first lesson of leadership I learned right at the age of 15 was to set an example. You cannot be a leader till you lead from the front, you be a role model, you do what you expect people to do.
Yes.
They should see in you, they should act like what you're acting and not say something and do something else.
Yes, so important, and to be proactive. And I'm just noticing that Rudy's written about always be curious. I think that's a great word. And as a leader, look, I'm really curious about this. What could we do so that, do you think this would work? Does somebody need to study it? Do we need to get an expert in? What do we need to be doing? I think that's a great word. And yes, lifelong learning is a proactive use. And I love that word, proactive. Proactive communication is my brand. And I think it's a wonderful word. And it absolutely creates more time flexibility. I just want to just jump in here and also mention that when I was in Delhi speaking at the conference, there were so many people in the audience with PhDs and master's degrees and experience and highly qualified. I was really taken aback by just how many there were. And I think I also noticed how humble everybody was as well. They were very, very eager to learn more. And I think that's a wonderful attribute to the culture of the people that were, I'm assuming, not just Professional Speakers Association of India, but in India as a country. I heard a lot as I was having conversations with people about how important education was to them.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you. And thank you, Rodolfo, for this wonderful point of curiosity that you added. It's a very powerful point. Thank you so much for your participation. I've seen Lali asking a question. So Lali, yes, because you can't do it yourself, you have to write your question here and I'll read it out or we'll put it on the. So please do type your question. And in the meanwhile, let's have this comment being discussed by David Buck, where he says that lifelong learning is a proactive use of your time that creates more time flexibility for you later in life. I think it's very powerful. Yes. What do you say, Monica, to this?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I've got a few degrees, but generally I like to think in my second degree, I studied 31 papers for my 21 paper degree. I started to study just what I liked and wanted to find out about. And that's something that, of course, Steve Jobs did, our Apple computer man, that he studied specifically what he wanted to learn. And I really encourage people to do that, to be lifelong learners. What's next? What am I going to learn about next? And it doesn't necessarily have to be at university. There's lots of opportunities to go and learn something new, whether you want to be a karate expert or you want to learn to cook, anything that's going to broaden in your mind, or you might go and learn a language, anything that's going to help to extend the way that you think so that you have what I like to call different perspectives on the world.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So Lali has put up a question saying, and we'll put the question on the screen as well. Uh, how do you manage an idea efficiently? How do you manage? Yes. So I think probably she is asking that idea creation is one thing, but how do you manage ideas?
Oh,
Yes,
look,
Monica, over to you.
there's many different ways to go about this. Is what there are different types of companies, and I just think I've started just by sowing the suggestion and the seed that you have an ideation highway. Now, you're not going to employ somebody to sit all day and read the ideas, so you might want to discuss them in teams. You might have your team or your group wanting to come together and go, why don't we do it like this? Let's write it down and put it in and take it through the portal to whoever is going to look at it. And you might have to put some detail around it, which would be the reason why we need to change how we're doing this from this way to this new idea is because of this, this, and this. So you can't just be firing 10,000 ideas in every day. You're not going to wake at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, why don't we do it like this? And type it off and expect the leaders to do it. And that comes down to systems and processes, of course. And there will be people within your organization, or it would be up to the leader to look and think, what's the best way of managing this? I certainly don't believe that there's a one size fits all, but to create a portal, and that's always been what I recommend, create your own system that's going to work, because every company and organization has a different way of doing things. But no, you certainly can. That's an excellent question. And it just really does depend on what the organization is or the company and how they go about things.
Absolutely. So thank you very much for answering that. If I may add, Lali, I want to say every company, like what Monica said, will have a different way of doing it because it all depends on the role of the company, the size of the company, and many other things. But very fact that you use the word manage, so there has to be a process that whatever idea has come in, whether it is going to be discussed in a committee, whether it is going to be passed on to the concerned department, whether it is going to be discussed in a small team, this will all have to be seen by the way a company operates, its role, its market, and all that. But what is important, like what Monica said, is there has to be a system and process to manage the ideas. Ideas should not be just taken, put in a file, or just heard and forgotten. That is, the very fact. If you have a way of ideas, like she said, ideation highway, then there should be some processing to that, so that people know that this idea was utilized, not utilized, has been kept for the future, or this idea sparked another idea. That is a beautiful insight for me. That is another aspect to be thought about, that this idea itself may not be so useful, but because of that we got some other idea, and that may have worked very well. So
Yes.
thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. And if anybody is listening and they're interested, I've written a chapter on this in a book called Trailblazers, Professional Speakers Association of New Zealand. But more than happy to share that chapter. Just send me an email and I'll be more than happy to send you just that chapter that I've written in a PDF. So monica@monicamore.net. Or you're more than welcome to contact the Brigadier. And I have to call him the Brigadier because he is the only Brigadier that I know. And we figured out that in India, there's one Brigadier for every 1.2 million people. Is that right? Didn't you work that out?
Yeah, that's the calculation. Actually, that idea never even struck my mind. I had never even calculated, but it was when you asked me that question and we worked on it. I did have my chest expand another 1 inch when I heard that.
Well, I got my photo with you in India because it's like, oh, we have to have a photo. I've never met a Brigadier before, and I think that's how it all started. How we started talking.
No,
And
thank you.
Spoken on Zoom a
Thank
few
you
times.
so much for that. Now, Monica, I don't think any discussion, any conversation on leadership can be complete without the word trust, because I feel that that's the glue that keeps the people together. And it is most important for a leader to first learn how to trust people and then create an environment where trust is a two-way thing. You have to be trustworthy and you have to trust people. So people should be able to trust you. So your actions have to be such that people find you trustworthy, and you also need to learn how to trust people. What would you say to that?
I would say that keep it really simple. We know that trust is huge, and that when it's broken, it's very, very difficult, if not impossible, to fix. I know that as leaders, and I'm going to quote a very good friend of mine, Christine Rankin. I know when she was running a large organisation here in New Zealand, she had this phrase, and I have used it a lot, and with your permission, I will trust you unless you prove me wrong. And that gives team leaders and anybody in the organisation the opportunity to do their job without the leader having to check up on them. That's going to reduce the workload for that leader. I will trust you unless you prove me wrong. And that certainly doesn't mean that you expect people to know what to do all the time, because part of the whole trust equation is people being able to say, look, I've got this situation and I don't know what to do. And that's by feeling that you can trust each other to share that, because no one person can solve all problems. So just using that whole idea of I will trust you unless you prove me wrong. And I know you and I have spoken about this before.
That's a very powerful statement, and I have personally applied it in life and found it very good. So, yes, there are people other way around. For them, everyone is a suspect till he proves to be trustworthy, and the other way that you trust everyone till something goes wrong. So that gives a better understanding in an organization. It also encourages and reinforces trust between each other.
Oh, absolutely. And look, it'll be exhausting running around treating everybody like a suspect. And I'm sure we've all had that experience.
At the cost of taking some time, Monica, let me tell you a story which is there in one of my books. I was a young captain and I had taken over an administrative company. It's called the Adam Company, and it has a platoon called the band platoon. So normally every army unit has a band of its own, and the commanding officer came for an inspection, and while he was inspecting everything, he said, "Can I see your band store?" And I had not even seen it myself. It was 2 months since I had taken over the company. I had not even opened the band store, and I had not prepared it, and I knew that now that's going to be my doomsday. Firstly, that store was closed, so I quickly asked for the keys. The keys came. The band store in charge opened the door reluctantly because he also knew there was chaos inside. And when he put on the lights, all we could see was cobwebs, dust, everything lying so disorderly. At that moment, if this man would have given me a slap or kicked me, I would have accepted it because I thought I deserved that. So he just looked around and he said, "Sushil, when can I see this band store again?" No, that's not what I expected. I said, "Sir, tomorrow." He said, "No, today's Monday. I will see you at 10 o'clock on next Monday. I'm giving you a week. I want to see how your band store looks." And when he came after 1 week, he just walked in, looked around, and he says, "This is the best band store I have ever seen." Now, see, that is the way he put his trust in me that I'm capable of doing it. I probably slipped up, but anyone else could have got annoyed and fired me up and abused me, and I would have also accepted it. So that is the way sometimes your trust, your confidence, your encouragement to people really works.
Yes, and so he was creating an opportunity. He was giving you an opportunity and you took it and you fixed it. And I think that's a wonderful leadership tool as well. Create an opportunity where things can be repaired. because you didn't say my band store looks fabulous and then you found out that it wasn't. You were probably too busy thinking, oh no, I haven't seen it myself. And you'd only started, and you didn't start making excuses either. You just were honest and open. And I think that's also a wonderful value, to have to be honest and open with what's going on and prepare yourself. I think we've got a few questions in here as well coming across. That makes your book $1 million second even more relevant.
Thank
Well,
you, Dave.
I think it's like 1.2 million.
But
And
I think he's made it 1 million to suit the $1 million there.
Oh, brilliant. That's excellent. Great thinking.
Okay, here is Devesh. You must have met him in Delhi. So Devesh says,
Yes, I know Devesh. He's lovely.
can you help to talk about assertiveness on communication? Sometimes due to imposter syndrome, it becomes difficult to be assertive during public speaking. So wanted to know more about it.
Okay, so we're speaking about public speaking. I think because we've been talking about leadership and operating, and I will get to that full answer, Devesh, is that we'll just look at understanding what our communication style is. Everybody has a style. And as for imposter syndrome, I think everybody at a different time of their life has felt that. And if you're feeling really unsure of yourself, it's really important to address that personally. But if you're speaking about in the workplace, is sharing and understanding the way that you speak. So the Brigadier and I were speaking about this, about understanding your own communication style for a start. So I'm going to digress slightly, Devesh, but I will come back to answer that more fully. So using the acronym STYLE, STYLE, let's have a look at how people do tend to speak. And look, it's very simple. I made this up. I use it a lot because it's easy to remember. And the first one is do you have a supportive communication style? Are you the sort of person in your team or in your organization that's going to support all the ideas? Let's do this. Yes, that sounds great. Okay, I'll book the meeting room. I'll get the caterers. I'll order whatever we need. That's a wonderful idea. And it's important to be a supportive person because that's going to create those great ideas. So do you mostly speak as a supportive person? The next one is the T. T for trailblazer. Are you the person that has the great ideas? Why don't we do it like this? Let's all turn up at work tomorrow wearing green lycra stretch outfits and we'll all look fabulous, which could well be a crazy idea. But being willing to try those new things, and you've got the supportive person going, yes, let's do that. I'll call up and I'll book the new uniforms right now. Now, we need somebody to make sure that we're not going to have crazy things happening every day at work. And we use that as the why. And I use the why for somebody that yells. They're going to yell and say, no, we can't do it like that. We've never done it like that before. And they're like a protagonist. They're challenging the trailblazer. They're challenging the supportive person while they're thinking, will this work? So they're usually the person that goes, no, you can't do it like that. So they tend to yell at. I'm sure everybody knows somebody like that. So we've got the S, we've got the T, we've got the Y, and the L is for someone I call the people that are low lying. LOW, then lying as in lying back and being quiet. Because in a team, not everybody can be doing the talking. The low liar often sits back and they're thinking, they're reflecting, they're waiting. They may not be giving something the buy-in yet because you can't have everybody at the forefront making all the noise. They're willing, as long as once they've reflected, soaked it in and shared. And of course the E is it pays to be a little bit of everything. It pays to be supportive when it's important. It pays to be a trailblazer. Let's try this great idea. It pays to have a protagonist that makes sure that the great idea will work, or they understand the risk analysis, the risk versus reward. And then, of course, you're going to have the low liar. He's waiting and ready because not everybody can be doing the talking or being actively involved. They're waiting, they're planning, they're reflecting. So it pays to be a little bit of everything. So often I talk about your communication style, and it can be part of that. So that's
That is
one.
beautiful. That is a very, very good way of creating and establishing a communication style for your leader. And it's very important, because what I understand out of this is that a leader needs to know that this is all there in the team, and he has to sort of balance all this and use the right ones at the right time. So I think it works very well. I think a phenomenal acronym that you have made,
It's
Monica.
very simple. And then the next thing that Devesh had said is about imposter syndrome. So Devesh, here's something that people could try if you're worrying about I'm not good enough, is just to, and I use 3 squares. It's great if you've got I've got some tiles here, my dining room and kitchen, and I noticed in India there was tiles everywhere. So go and find yourself 3 tiles on the floor, and just get your 2 fingers, and I do this myself, and I tap just the side of just by where my knuckle is. You can do it anywhere on your body, but I like to do this. And in the first one, you're going to say to yourself, I'm shocking at this job. Everybody's going to find out that I'm an imposter and I don't know what I'm doing. And that's putting that energy. Then stop and think, how does that feel? And it won't feel great, and you feel uncomfortable. So step into the next tile beside it and say this to yourself, maybe I could do this. I have got the qualifications. I'm still young, but I've got some experience, and I do know how things work around here. So maybe I could do this. And that might feel okay. Now you should do this daily or whenever you need to. And then into the third tile, step into it and think, you know what? We're all eye to eye. We all started somewhere. We've all got to work our way to the top. And if I don't start using an assertive communication, I'm going to be stuck in that tile of thinking I'm no good, stuck in that square or stuck in that box. So in the first one, you're telling yourself, I can't do it. And that will feel uncomfortable. Try the second one, which is the maybe one. And then into the next one is the yes, I can do it. And I have got a little, if you want to send me an email, I've got a little diagram. It's actually from my book, and it talks about the 3 zones. And in the first zone is the groan zone or the moan zone, where you're always saying, I can't do this. I'm no good. This is terrible. I did live there for a little while. And when I was younger. And in the middle one, you're saying, and it's the known zone, where you're starting to think, what do I know about myself? What can I do? What can I see that is going well? What am I capable of? What have I achieved? And you start to get that knowledge. So you move out of moaning and groaning about yourself into knowing more about yourself and what you're capable of. Then you step into it, and I just call it the zone. I'm in the zone. Actually, I'm a rock star. I can get this done. And if I make a mistake, I'm going to learn from it. Which brings me to my flip-flops. Find life in problems. Every time you solve a problem, you become more powerful. So you've got the moan zone, the groan zone, the known zone, and the zone. Do write in, Devesh, if that was helpful. And start using that. I've got this. I can do this. And if anybody does question you and make you feel less confident, just roll out the tell me more about this. Tell me more about this. Someone's coming along. Devesh, you're not doing your job properly. You're actually shocking. I'm not very happy. Oh, can you tell me more about this? Pick up a piece of paper and a pen and start to write it down. Because I want to learn from this. So all that positive, proactive communication is very helpful for imposter syndrome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think Devesh, tell me if you got your answer. I think you got it actually bang on. And here is one last question from Bharti. And she says, how to communicate with the new joiners to ensure they take ownership of their task. So she's talking of people who have either joined the organization new or have come from another organization from where they may already have something to unlearn before they learn what this organization is talking about.
Oh, look, excellent. I think that's what's really important is that when somebody is new, and I had this experience many, many years ago, where the leader penciled out, or one of the leaders, 2 hours, I think it was, and it was over the lunchtime. And I had lunch with them, felt very special, and they went through everything. But first they said, Monica, what do you know about this job already? What do you already know about this job? So I shared it. They said, what questions have you got? Well, look, I don't know how you do this. Well, what happens about that? And we had lunch together, and I felt very important, very empowered, and very validated. Now, you can't, the CEOs, if it depends on the size of the organization and how many people you've got new. So it might be the team leader doing that. But I remember thinking I felt very important I was having lunch in a boardroom, and it was all, what coffee would you like? And I felt very validated. So that would be something that I think is a wonderful idea. Let people come on board, and also buddy them up with somebody. Or if you are struggling with anything, this is the person you contact. This is where you go to find out. And of course, roll out the vision, mission, purpose, and values. We use this language every day in this organization. And that is an expectation, as we said in the job interview, that we would want from you. Or you could ask the question, how do your personal values align with the company values or the organizational values? And a great professional development is to have a session on that. Well, some people don't have their own personal values. What are your values? Well, what do you mean? What is important to you? How would I see it? They say, oh, I value my family. Tell me how you value your family. I value my lifelong learning. What can I see? What is tangible? So again, just by having those proactive conversations that aren't intimidating, that don't make people feel that they're doing something wrong, actually builds up people's confidence and also their skills and an understanding of themselves. And it's great for leaders to say, look, I don't feel, Monica, that our values are aligning with your personal ones because you've been late every single day for the last 6 months. So obviously being on time, which is an important value at our company, isn't one for you. No, that could be after many other discussions.
Thank you so much, Monica. We have gone a little over time, but before we end, I would like to ask you one last nugget that you would like to give us before we close the session today.
Is it to do with the cup?
Yes.
Wonderful. So look, this is just a template that's really useful if you are experiencing any conflict or potential conflict in any organization you're working with. And I use the acronym CUP. What do people do with a cup? They have a cup of tea, a cup of coffee together. It's commonality. So by using the C of cup, so let's pretend that the brigadier and I are having some conflict. So I'm going to make something up, which might be, let's pretend that this morning I said to the brigadier, oh my gosh, when you said our meeting was at 5 o'clock, I thought you meant New Zealand time. I didn't realize you meant New Zealand time, Indian time. I'm completely making this up. So he might say, I need you at 12:30. And I might say to him, Brigadier, we both want this LinkedIn Live to happen. So that's something we have in common. We both want that to happen. Now, I understand that you told me it was 5 p.m. and you understand we live in different countries. So let's make a plan. I mean, this isn't the greatest example. So whatever's going on, you say, let's make a plan. So whatever, and then you might say, well, you've got to be there now. It's 12:30 a.m. You need to be up because I've got everything organized. And I might come back and say, we both want this to happen. Now, I understand that we have an issue with our time zones. And you understand that I've got to be somewhere at 7:30 tomorrow morning. So let's make a plan. or whatever it is. It's not the greatest example. I quite often use Roger, the real estate agent. So Roger, the real estate agent, calls the admin, someone in admin at 5 to 5 on a Friday night and says, I need to get the sale to go live and I need you to help me. I've only got 20 minutes. Help me. And the administration person may have already had to work 2 late nights. It's her son's birthday. It's her friend Monica's birthday, and she wants to get home to go to the party. So she might say, Roger, we both want this sale to work. Now, you understand it's 5 to 5 and I'm going home at 5 o'clock. And I understand you want to get the sale in place. So let's make a plan. What do you mean make a plan? I don't have time to make a plan. You go back to again. We both want this to happen. Now, I understand that this is important. And you understand that you didn't complete the forms and put them in 48 hours like you're supposed to. So let's make a plan. I have got no time to make a plan. I'm going to ring your manager. I'm going to complain about you. Stick to it again. We both want the sale to happen. Every time you understand something and they understand something, you can add something on. It's now 2 minutes to 5. I've worked late twice this week. And as you know, I don't get any overtime. It's my friend Monica's birthday. And you understand that you needed to get this work done. And you also know that your friend David always gets his paperwork in time. So let's make a plan. And often, even if they hang up, they will soon learn to follow the process. So drinking from the cup of commonality, CUP. If you're interested in that, Monica at monicamore.net if you want to know anything more about it, and I'll send you the tool. If you've watched The Brigadier, if you're a follower of the wonderful Brigadier, you are more than welcome to use that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And yes, we have to understand that it is time for Monica to go to bed because she has to prepare for this very, very special day. She made it special for us and it's a very special day for her. So let's end by reminding her that it's a special day, and let's end with this very good wish from all of us.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you. Somebody
Thank you, Monica. Thank you for investing your time. I really enjoyed the discussion, and I'm sure those who watched it would have, and those who did not may watch the recording and be enlightened. Ram Prasad, I will make sure that you get Monica's email address. That is my responsibility. And for any other questions, for anything that you want, you can either contact her directly, join her on LinkedIn, or let me know and I'll connect you with her.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, the audience, for being there and investing your time, because without you, we are nothing. We can't be just talking to nobody, and you are the ones who make it so special for us. So thank you very much. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, the ones I know whom I could see, and there are some I couldn't see. Ram Prasad, David Buck, Lali Yadav, and Rodolfo Rivera, and Devesh and Bharti. I think this is all what I could see. And if there are any more which I couldn't see and I missed out the names, my apologies. Thank you very much. Thank you, Monica. And thank you, Snehal, for supporting me.
Thank you.